Welcome back to the Bill and Doug Show. Doug Lesmerises, Bill Landis, national picks here on a Friday, making 6 picks in national games. Bill Landis, I got a little better last week. I did a little better.
I knew it. I knew you would.
So we make an Ohio State pick on our Thursday Ohio State show. So we include that pick because we picked that game against the spread also. So we include that with these national picks. So I went 5-2 last week. You went 3-4. For the season against the spread, you are 25-25.
Okay.
And I am 23-27. So you are 2 games ahead, but I made up a little ground. Overall, no spread. You are 30-20. I am 29-21. How do we feel about all that?
I feel pretty good about it. Yeah. I'll take 500 after a bad week. And I'm glad to see you getting turn things around. You've been on the roller coaster a little bit though, so I'm interested to see what happens for you this week.
I'm staring down an offer, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I haven't had 2 good weeks in a row the whole year. So we're picking 6 national games here. Let's get right into it because a couple of them, Bill, really, really, really matter for the playoff race, which we just think is exciting. And we're going to start with Washington at Michigan. This is a noon game, and this is Michigan favored at home by 5.5. And there is there's a little bit of this. Washington hasn't been a great road team. We know that. They didn't win on the road last year, but they did go to Maryland and win this year in a game where they did nothing in the first half. And they got their stuff together and rallied in the second half and played really well. They were shut out in the first half at Maryland. Interception, punt, stopped on downs, punt, stopped on downs. The second half for the Washington offense, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. They came back and won 24-20. As you think about this Michigan-Washington game, just how much immediately does the fact that Michigan is at home in the big house and Washington's on the road factor into your evaluation?
Yeah, decent amount. Washington, going back to last year, has covered in Eastern time, is 1-3 playing on Eastern time. This is a 9:00 body clock game for Washington. I did see, funnily enough, the Washington, I guess, changed up its travel a little bit. Our pal Christian Cable did some reporting on this. And the person that Jed Fish talked to is Mike McDonald, the Seattle Seahawks head coach, is the former defensive coordinator at Michigan. So they didn't do anything drastic. They basically they got a bigger plane and they left at a different time. But I think,
are they leaving a day early? Are they going Thursday instead of Friday? Is that a thing? Because that's what Ohio State did when it went to Washington. There seems to be a little more fly Thursday instead of Friday in the Big Ten for the cross country trips this year.
Yeah, it's like practice Thursday, then get on the plane Thursday evening. And then practice on site, or not on site, but somewhere in the area on Friday. Ohio State did not do that last year. Did do that this year. I think Penn State's done it with their West Coast travel, so it's not a foolproof plan. But teams seem to be adjusting a little bit. So I did factor it in. It wasn't like an automatic, well, Washington's playing in the Eastern time zone, let me give them a loss kind of thing. But I certainly thought about it.
Okay. I'm thinking about it less because when you look at this, you're on alert when Washington makes that trip to Maryland. They went to Rutgers last year, and Jed Fish acted like they went to New Zealand. He acted like New Jersey was on the other side of the planet, not the other side of the continent. So to go to Maryland and then just lay an egg in the first half and then get your stuff together. Now I'm not saying that solved everything because there are other road games so far this year is Washington State. So that's the only real trip they've made. And I'm not saying that going to Maryland is the same as going to Michigan. But I might have shed the doubting Washington just because of that part of it. I don't think you can completely do it, but they earned my respect with that second half. And then the other part of this is Damon Williams Jr., for instance, the Washington quarterback. In 5 games, in 5 of the 6 games this year that he's played, he's averaging 291 passing yards. Against Ohio State, he had 173. In 5 games, he's averaging 82 rushing yards. Against Ohio State, he had -28. The other 5 games, he's averaging 373 yards of offense per game. Against Ohio State, he had 145. We kind of said this. We kind of told this to Ohio State fans when it happened. It was like, hey, we thought DeMarvin Williams Jr. is good. Williams Jr. is good. We think Washington's offense is good. Then Ohio State slowed them down or shut them down. And we're sort of like, I don't know. Are they that good? It's like, yes, they are that good. Mm-hmm. But, Bill, in many years past, it would have been a very reasonable comparison, or even to be like, well, if Ohio State can do it, can shut somebody down, certainly Michigan can. Because Michigan's defense was. Yeah. But now to think like, well, basically Washington offensively has scorched everybody except Ohio State. So who's Michigan more like? Is Michigan's defense more like the Ohio State defense, or are they more like the everybody else defense? And coming off a game where they got spread out and then run over by USC, they certainly are looking more like the everybody else defense, which then makes me think, I don't know if they're going to stop Washington.
Yeah, and I think they still like look a little susceptible in the secondary too, especially at the corner spot. So Washington, Washington's offense was like number one in like everything when Ohio State played them, and then did not have a great day. But currently, 10th overall in the Fermo Index, 4th in points per drive, 3rd in available yards, 7th in touchdown rate, 1st in first down rate. Like they just kind of picked it back up, as you were saying. Like this is still, profile-wise anyway, one of the elite offenses in college football. And Michigan just played one of those too, I think, against USC, and it didn't handle it well. Now this is home. Jerome Moore's got his blue collar shirt on. Maybe they rally and play a little tougher. Like I thought USC pushed Michigan around a little bit. I don't know if Washington's equipped to do quite the same up front, but I think what you worry more about is Demond Williams, Denzel Boston. Seems like I just had his name with my tongue. Who's the freshman, the receiver?
Desmond Roebuck.
I wanted to call him Roback, but I knew that wasn't right.
Are you setting me up?
I wasn't. But yeah, Desmond Roebuck seems like he's emerging as like a reliable number 2 receiver. We know Jonah Coleman's good, so a lot of weapons for Michigan to deal with. And yeah, I don't know what kind of shape that defense is in. I don't think it's a bad defense, but I don't know that it's an elite one, and I don't think it's the caliber of the one that Ohio State has that shut Washington down.
Yeah, spread them out and then gash them in the run game. That's what USC did. And it's like, man, like Mekhi Lemon for USC last week, Denzel Boston for Washington this week. King Miller as a running back, walk-on third string guy for USC last week. Okay, if he can do it, then Jonah Coleman can do it this week. Like a lot of challenging each other at Michigan this week. Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, challenging coaches, challenging players. We can't let that happen again. That was about as gashed as the Michigan defense has been in several years. So I think you can reasonably look at that and say, like, okay, maybe that's a one-off. We've seen some one-off games this year. But then also you just go through, it's like everybody, Ernest Hausman and Jayshon Barham, people are excited about the linebackers. Derek Moore can still get after the passer a little bit. Rayshon Benny inside, but like it is a step down. I mean, you can't lose Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and everybody who's made Michigan great defensively the past couple of years, Josiah Stewart, and not have a little bit of a step down. But it might be I don't know. They go up 408 yards against Oklahoma, 5.5 yards per play, Michigan's defense. Nebraska, 351 yards, 4.9 yards per play. USC, 489 yards, 7.2 yards per play. So, like, it's not the only time that somebody's gashed him a little bit. They're kind of having some trouble tackling it. Again, just to add on top of your Washington stats, they're successful, they're consistent, and explosive. So they have the second best offensive success rate in the Big Ten behind only USC. That's the do your job down after down. And then they're tied for 4th in the nation of plays of 20 yards or more with 44. So they're also big play. So man, and that's what you said. They're consistent and explosive. They can run it and they can throw it. And they're facing a Michigan defense that's back on its heels after last week. There's a part of me that's like, I kind of don't care where that game is played. I'm not exactly sure how Michigan's going to stop Washington.
Yeah, I like the matchup for Washington there on that side of the ball. And I also like to the point of the travel and Washington's record. Like, I do think there's something to this being like a big game, right? It's a huge game for both teams. That might erase some of the sleepiness factor you might be worried about with Washington, right? Like, you're not going to play Maryland, you're not going to play Rutgers, you're going to play Michigan in a game where like the winner keeps its playoff hopes alive, right? So I think the travel matters, and like I said, I considered it some, but only so much, because I think the stakes of the game might help overcome whatever impact the travel might have for Washington.
And then Michigan, a bunch of its big games has allowed touchdowns on the first drive of the game. I think they did it against Oklahoma. I think they did it against Wisconsin. I think they did it against USC. I think Nebraska marched and then got stopped on down. So like, that's just one of those, again, you get the home crowd, but Damon Williams Jr. and Jonah Coleman, they march down the field, and then it sets the home crowd on edge. And now you have Bryce Underwood as a true freshman trying to lead them back. And the big part of this on the other side of the ball is people don't know if Justice Haynes is going to play.
Yeah.
And Justice Haynes for Michigan has been as good as any running back in the country. I think he's 4th in rushing yards in the nation. He was averaging 7.7 yards per carry and 131 yards per game in the first 5 games. And then he got hurt, I think, in the second quarter against USC and didn't come back. They went to Jordan Marshall as a younger guy who was 14 carries for 68 against USC. Pretty good. But Justice Haynes kind of makes this offense go. Tremendous transfer. And Sharon Moore says he's questionable. And like, that's this feels like if he plays, like if he was healthy, I think Michigan's like, you want to keep Washington's offense off the field. You want to control the game, and you just give the ball to Justice Haynes 30 times. But he might not play. And if he plays, will he be fully healthy?
Right. Washington, statistically anyway, has a good run defense. They have not given up a lot of explosive run plays, which is like kind of what Michigan needs, I think, to win games like this. I like Jordan Marshall, but I don't think he's at the level that Haynes is, and has not provided the impact, at least to this point, that Haynes has. But then you could run Bryce Underwood more, and maybe to account for that in this game. I wonder if Michigan might have found something with Andrew Marsh at receiver in the USC game. Like, they lost, but Marsh had a nice game. A receiver looked pretty explosive. So maybe is there like a world where Michigan can like tweak its offensive identity a little bit in this game and still find success if they don't have Haynes?
Because I'm mentioning Underwood, right? Didn't run in the first 2 games, and it's like, okay, they unlocked Bryce Underwood. They let him go. 114 rushing yards against Central Michigan, 61 against Nebraska. Last 2 weeks, 5 carries for 12 yards against Wisconsin, 5 carries for -4 yards against USC. And the only 2 games where he's run are the 2 games that Sharon Moore didn't coach.
Oh, I did not put those things together.
So old Biff came in and was like, let's roll the dice with the big old freshman. And then Sharon Moore is like, I want to coach this guy for another 2 seasons after this. Yeah. I'm not telling him to run the ball every play. So I don't know, because I agree. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Because I feel like you look at the passing stats for Bryce Underwood, I think solid. He's not turning it over a ton. He's not being reckless, but you watch him in the course of a game. It's like, there's a good throw, there's a miss. There's a good read, there's a bad read, which he's a true freshman. Of course you expect that. I actually think he's been pretty good. But I think if they get into a, like, let's match points showdown with Washington, they can't keep up, because Damon Williams Jr., while being explosive, also does not make mistakes and does not miss. He's super accurate and he's super explosive. Like, one little missed 3rd down throw by Bryce Underwood, and they're going to feel that pressure. So I would think, like, run the ball with whoever you can run the ball with, but will Haynes play, and will they let Underwood run? I don't know. So I just think it's a tough spot for Michigan.
Yeah. This is maybe important to check with some of these games in the Midwest, because there's going to be rain, I think, in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I don't know if that grounds a passing attack or not. And certainly Washington is no stranger to playing in the rain. But something to keep in the back of your mind, I guess, as you're pondering these games. I don't know. I just don't know that I believe a whole lot in Michigan's ability to win a game like this without Justice Haynes. Like, I think he's that important to what they do.
Yeah.
I think that offensive line is like okay to good, not great. I don't think Washington's defense is anything special, but like I said, they have been at least good against the run. They've also not played like great rushing attacks, including Ohio State, which doesn't have a great rushing attack. But I don't know, without him, I think it's going to be tough without. And Washington has some injuries in its secondary that's been dealing with all year, but I don't know if Michigan's equipped to like make them pay for that either.
And Takario Davis did play last week. He played 81 snaps last week as Rutgers. So like, that was the corner who was missing against Ohio State and several other games. So like, he's back. So that's good.
Yeah.
So
Underwood's played much better at home than he has on the road, but they've also like played all the good teams on the road. So,
yeah.
That's a little bit misleading. Yeah, I think my lean is Washington here, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty strong Washington, and I'm going to take Washington 26-19.
Okay, I'm 28-24, so in a similar area.
Okay, so and this is Washington's a 5.5 point underdog, so like we really like Washington as an underdog here. Certainly there's a winning pedigree at Michigan. If Haynes can play and be a workhorse, and if this defense remembers what it's been and rises up, okay. But Damon Williams Jr. is going to have something to say about that. And I just think it's good for the national media. Like there's Washington's 28th in the polls. Like one of the main like discussion points in college football now is like, why isn't Washington ranked? And the reason that they're not ranked is because they should be ranked and the voters aren't getting it. But this is really a statement game for Washington. So I like Jed Fish, I think will seize on that. I think Damon Williams Jr. and Denzel Boston and Jonah Coleman and these guys will seize on that. Like this is for Michigan. It's like, well, what would you rather have? Like Michigan, the guys there, they've been in the games like this for 3 years. Like this is nothing new. This is what Michigan is now. But these Washington guys, like this is all new. Because there's a complete program revamp from the national title game 2 years ago. Last year was mid. And now if they win this, they are firmly in the playoff race. And they're definitely going to be ranked. And people are going to wake up to what Washington is. So I like Washington being fired up to seize that opportunity. And I do think Jed Fish and this staff will use that in the right way, that this will be a positive, not like, oh no, there's pressure on us. We have to go to Michigan. We've never been in this spot. I think it's a plus, not a minus for Washington, that this is their kind of opportunity to enter the spotlight.
Yeah, no, I think so too. That's what I mentioned about the travel thing. Like that's why it's just not as much of a factor for me because of like the moment for Washington. And I guess like they could wilt in the moment, but I don't think they're going to. Yeah. I just think they're a pretty confident team, and even like the Ohio State game, Ohio State controlled it start to finish. It was a lower scoring game. Ohio State controlled it, but like it felt like Washington like had some regrets there, right? Like some missed opportunities. I think they make that a more competitive game. So I think they're solid. I think they're pretty good. Like in a loss to Ohio State, I think they showed themselves to be not a pushover, right? And then since then, they've kind of just like picked up where they were before that game. So they look very dangerous to me, and I think this is a spot where they can get a nice win.
Okay. Second game we're picking is Ole Miss at Georgia, 3:30 on ABC. Georgia is a 7.5 point favorite at home, and I just think these are two overrated teams.
I had not realized that Trinidad Chambliss has not started a game on the road yet, so he'll do that for the first time in this game.
Oh, in the hedges. He has to what do you do?
Hedges, yeah.
What do? You got to come out between the hedges. They make you come out like you got to like wade your way. You did that when you're a kid. Everybody does that when you're a kid. Like you have neighbors who have the really nice, tight, trimmed bushes, right? But you're too lazy to go all the way around the block. So you want to cut through somebody's yard. So you leave like a Wile E. Coyote imprint in the beautifully trimmed bushes because you're trying to shimmy through and there's no room. That's how you have to enter the field as a visiting team in Georgia.
We used to call it bush hopping. We would jump into them.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. It's a good way to get hurt.
Yeah. No, I believe that. There was, I don't know why. Well, I won't tell us. No, I will tell a story. No, I won't. No, I will. This is just their group of friends I had in college for some reason. Like if you were just like walking by a bush, somebody would say, have some bush and push you into a bush.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't do that? And then like one day it was like, we were walking and my future wife was with us, and it was like just guys that like she kind of knew of, but didn't really know. And she was just like, have some bush to this one guy. And he flew through the air. And it was like, do you know him well enough to tell him to have some bush? But also that was great. Like everyone. So anyway, that's hey, like that's what Trinidad Chambliss is dealing with on the road. Ole Miss is so overranked at number 5, it absolutely blows your mind. I think Washington would beat Ole Miss.
Don't you like in your heart of hearts, dog mentality, you want Georgia to win this game? You want Georgia to get Ole Miss out the paint? It's okay.
The consternation that I feel in my body trying to pick which mid SEC team that I don't believe in to actually beat the other, I have no idea what to do with any of this. We have another mid versus mid SEC game coming up. Is somebody here good? Like, is somebody good? Georgia's 9, Ole Miss is 5. This is a top 10 matchup. But nobody's beaten. So Ole Miss beat LSU, except LSU stinks. I don't have to repeat this because I went nuts on it for 25 minutes the other night. Georgia should have lost to Tennessee. They did lose to Alabama. They got handed the game against Auburn because the SEC hates Auburn. And then nobody else they beat has mattered.
And Ole Miss is out here playing one-score games with Arkansas, Kentucky, and Washington State.
Right. And Lane Kiffin's like laying a trap for Kirby Smart this week by saying like Kirby Smart's the best coach in the game and George is the best program in the game. And like, this is it. And it's like, so then
he also called Kirby fat, which makes me think Kirby's going to hammer his team.
I pass again. I can't do it. I can't. I really don't believe in Georgia though. Do you believe? Is there? Do you believe in one of these teams?
I think their offense is bad.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
All right. So like what? So then what's the deal here? What do you think?
I don't know. I think Georgia's going to win because Ole Miss won last year. I don't think so. Ole Miss won last year. I think like on the strength of its defensive line, like playing out of its mind, or defensive line, playing out of its mind. I don't think Ole Miss is built that way this year. I think Georgia's worse than it was last year, but I don't think Ole Miss is built quite the same way. I don't know that Trinidad Chambliss, for as good as he's been, and I think like how good he's been has been a little overstated. Is quite ready for like going on the road in the SEC to win a game like this. So I'm with you that I don't think either team is particularly good, but I think Georgia's going to win the game. I have 24-17 dogs.
24-17 dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you just look at success rate and stuff, and it's like everybody in the SEC is just like kind of in the middle of everything on both sides of the ball. Like nobody stands out in it. Like only things that stand out are like in the SEC are the Vanderbilt offense and the Oklahoma defense. But everybody else is like really kind of average. So I'm picking Ole Miss.
Wow.
35-24 Ole Miss.
Okay.
I really.
That's a lot of points for an SEC game. Usually SEC games are like 24-20.
But nobody plays defense there anymore either. It's like I can see Gunnar Stockton throwing a couple picks or whatever. I just think my dream is that this looks nothing like a top 10 matchup, which is like that. Yeah. That's what I hope for. I hope for chaos and I hope for everybody stumbling over each other. So I don't want to watch it. Don't make me watch it.
You don't have to watch it.
Penn State at Iowa, 7:00 on Peacock. They're putting the day after on the Bird, man. Hey, man. Hey, we paid extra. Put it on the Bird. What do you got? We got fired coach Penn State on the Bird. Backup quarterback fired coach. Kirk Ferentz trying to win 6-2. What do you think of that, Bird? Take that. You driving a lot of $4.99 subscriptions on that? Penn State is actually an underdog here. Iowa's favored at home by 2.5, Landis. And this is, I do think, there's hey, could you get like our coach got fired. There's a bounce off of that. It wakes everybody up, but it's also tied to our starting quarterbacks out for the year. We're playing a backup who's never played before. So This is, I think, much more about Ethan Grunkmeyer as a quarterback, who is there to be their quarterback of the future. And he's not a true freshman, right? He's a second-year player who is being groomed from Ohio, from Central Ohio, who is being groomed to be Drew Allar's successor. So, like, on one hand, it's not crazy. I mean, there's plenty of second-year. Julian Saint's a second-year quarterback. CJ Carr is a second-year quarterback. There's plenty of second-year quarterbacks starting in college football. If Drew Allar had gone to the NFL, Ethan Grunkmeyer would have been the starter this year, right? I don't think they would have gone and gotten a portal guy.
I don't think so, no.
So now Drew Allar's out for the year. So I don't know that. I don't think Ethan Grunkmeyer is like completely unprepared, but it's also his first start. And it's on the road in Kinnick against a Phil Parker defense.
Yeah, but as we know, the Penn State backup is usually better than the starter. So could be the case here. I just don't know. Yeah, if guy making his first career start against Phil Parker's defense, there's just a level of precision that's required to have success against that defense that I'm not entirely sure Penn State is prepared for, both like schematically and emotionally. I do wonder, like, the season's over, but they still got to play. There's like Andy Kotelnicki just like throw every weird idea he has in his brain out on the field over the next 6 games to see what happens? Or does he save those and they run them in Columbus on November 1st? We don't see much of that in this game. I don't know.
Yeah, so Penn State, they play this and they're off a week, and then they come to Ohio State. Also, Terry Smith, the interim coach, who's a diehard, loyal Nittany Lion, might just tell Andy Kotelnicki, like, cram it with the tricks. We're handing the ball to Nick Singleton and Katron Allen 40 times. We're going to win like that.
Yeah, he could. I thought some of what Terry Smith said this week was interesting. I was watching his press conferences, and they were like, are you going to make any changes? And he said, like, not immediately, because we're, like, trying to get all our ducks in a row. But, like, yes, eventually. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what the changes are. I don't know if that's personnel changes, what you're saying, like, we're running this thing through Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. There's a lot of discussion about, like, the Penn State players having a hard time grasping Jim Knowles' defense, like simplification on that side of the ball maybe is what he could be alluding to. But whatever that is, I don't know that we see it in this game. I think that's something they address in their week off, and maybe we see it from that point forward. I just think this is already a tough place for Penn State to play. They're 10-6 at Kinnick all time. And I don't think Iowa's great, but Iowa's confident coming off of shutting Wisconsin. It's a heck of a place to have to go play after your coach gets fired and everyone's pretty bummed out.
It is. Iowa is kind of strange this year. They're 4-2. They are coming off a 37-0 win over Wisconsin. Their losses are a 3-point loss to Iowa State and a 5-point loss to Indiana. That Indiana had to score in the final 2 minutes to win that game. Like Indiana, who looks like they're headed to a playoff semifinal, and Kurt Cignetti is like, man, that was the toughest challenge we've had. Like, the heck with Oregon and Illinois and everybody else, like playing at Kinnick. That was great. He loved that win, a 5-point win. And then they've beaten Wisconsin, Rutgers, UMass, and Albany. They're not really. It was like, hey, they got Mark Gronowski. He's the FCS Heisman winner. He's coming to save the passing attack, and like, not really.
No,
it's
an Iowa passing attack. Yeah,
passing yards per game for Mark Gronowski: 44, 83, 179, 186, 144, 107. And then Kamari Moulton and he's no Caleb Johnson. Like, they don't quite have that game breaker at running back, but like, they're kind of back. They're Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
They're Iowa. So can Penn State, reeling / motivated / confused Penn State, go in and do something? Because if Ethan Gronkmeyer can do something, they did bring in the transfer receivers. They do have 2 great running backs. Like, there's all the things that we thought, the shell of the team that everyone thought was a national title contender is all still there. It's all still there except for the quarterback and the head coach. But
which were the 2 biggest question marks for everyone coming into the season.
So,
not to make light of Drew Allar's injury. Yeah.
But if everything else is still there, are you worse? Are you actually worse at head coach and quarterback? You're different, but are you worse? And are you maybe just... Obviously, James Franklin and Drew Allar achieved a lot, but maybe just not having them is just freeing a little bit. You can maybe just play a little bit of a different way. It's not the burden of like, can James Franklin and Drew Allar do it? It's like, it's just Penn State now. And so I am picking Penn State.
I think everything you laid out is within the realm of possibility. Sure. But I kind of think maybe this roster is checked out. So I'm picking Iowa.
All right. I have 23-21 Penn State.
21-17 Iowa.
Okay. All right. Turn to the bird. This is a big one. USC at Notre Dame, 7:30. NBC, Notre Dame at home in this rivalry, favored by 9.5. Since allowing 98 points over their first 3 games, Notre Dame has allowed 27 points over the last 3. And Chris Ash, the beleaguered first-year defensive coordinator, did talk this week, I think for the first time, maybe all season, spoke with the media and said, we didn't change anything. We're just executing better, which is like, it's not my fault. Great. It was the players' fault. And so now they figured it out.
I didn't talk to you when it was bad. I'll talk to you while it's good and tell you it's not my fault.
Great. Yes. Boom shakalaka. Coaching 101. Notre Dame's good. Like CJ
Carr's playing really well.
Notre Dame's good.
CJ Carr's playing well.
Like they're good. CJ Carr, 270 passing yards per game, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. CJ Carr's good. Defense is good now. Like, they have a lot of good players.
Are we sure? Are you sure?
think that, yes, I think we're sure, because I think there's enough, like, and it was close early against NC State. They shut out NC State in the second half last week. NC State threw 3 picks. They kind of clamped down on Boise State. Like, they're really, I think, putting the screws to like some okay offenses. And Leonard Moore was out. He's back. He was back last week. So like that All-American quality cornerback is back. And they just have a lot of good players. I do. So, I do think it was Chris Ash's fault early on. And I also think they were playing 2 awesome teams, that they were in both of those games. And so I just still continue to think that, again, I picked Notre Dame to win the national title. I think they have a lot of very good defensive players. And so that for that defense to be good, like, it would not be shocking to me. And then I think there's a depth of talent with the skill players on offense. And I just think they're back to being the good Notre Dame that was like a top 5 team in the preseason. I think they're back.
I kind of think they're back too, but I'm not as confident in the defense as you are.
Okay.
Talk to me after this game. This is a good offense. They're getting ready to play against USC. This is a Lincoln Riley offense. I think, like, more or less, this is like what he wants to be. Now they're banged up at running back. Their top 2 running backs are not going to play. But the guy they put in last week was good.
King Miller ran for 158.
O-line's pretty good. Receivers are great. We'll know. We'll know if you think Notre Dame's defense is fine. I'm a little more skeptical. We'll get our answer, because if they're not good, then USC is going to light them up. Some injury stuff for Notre Dame in this game. New center, Ashton Craig's out.
Yeah,
and Gabe Rubio, defensive tackle, is probably like their best interior run defender, is also out.
Yep. But they one of their stories of last season was handling offensive line injuries. But then the problem was all the guys who were the good backups and trade. Like, this is like Pat Coogan. It's like, oh man, they could really use Pat Coogan, except Pat Coogan transferred because they thought he wasn't going to start. So he's the starting center at Indiana, and Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman would like to drive down to Bloomington and kidnap Pat Coogan right now. So again, success rate, do your job metric. Rushing plays, USC, number 1 in the country. Do your job. Passing plays, number 3 in the country. Do your job. Ohio State's number 1 in passing plays. But Ohio State's like 50th in rushing plays. So it's like
they're 88th.
88th, sorry. I knew you knew that. So like, this is a very good offense. This offense is really clicking on all cylinders, and we talked about it with the Michigan matchup. They really took it to Michigan last week. But I also think Jeremiah Love, CJ Carr, depth of receivers. I think Notre Dame's going to be able to move the ball too. I'm a little surprised this is 9.5. This feels a little much on the line, frankly.
Yeah. What's the total? Do you have that in front of you? I actually didn't look.
61.5.
Yeah. Okay.
So pretty high scoring. Yeah. So I'm going to take Notre Dame, but I am going to take USC to cover. So I have 34-28 Notre Dame.
Yeah. I'm doing the same. Notre Dame win, USC cover, but I'm higher scoring, 42-38 Notre Dame.
Oh, watch that. All right, so like a middling bird game, but the actual NBC is getting a banger here. I would watch this. Watch this.
I'll be tuned in.
Yeah, this will be a good one. So you can ignore Tennessee at Alabama at 7:30 on ABC. Alabama is favored at home by 8.5. The question here, the only question that matters in this game is, will I pick against Alabama for the 4th straight week? Picked them to lose to Georgia. They won 24-21. Picked them to lose to Vanderbilt. They won 30-14, but like it was a game for a while. Picked them to lose to Mizzou. They lost. They won 27-24, and Mizzou had the ball driving in the final minutes and threw a pick because Bo Prabula threw the wrong guy. So I think they've been playing with fire. I think their stats are mid. I do not believe in them at all. I feel a little weird picking against them for 4 straight weeks.
Are you doing it?
Yes, I'm doing it. Screw it. I couldn't. like my only rationale would be like, it's crazy. Like I shouldn't do it. It's a bridge too far. But I actually think it, because I do think like Tennessee's put up some points. Joey Aguilar on that offense, like
highest scoring offense in the country.
I think Tennessee can put offensive pressure on Alabama. And I still don't know that the Alabama offense, again, it's more like, right?
Mm-hmm.
DeMond Williams Jr., I think, can maybe crack the Michigan offense by making Michigan try to keep up. I think Tennessee's offense can crack the Alabama's offense by making them keep up. So, but you're a Bama believer. What is it about Bama that you think is good?
I'm a Bama believer within the context of the SEC.
Fair.
Like Ty Simpson's good. Ty Simpson, I think, is a good quarterback. Good skill. I think Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are like starting to figure it out with what that offense needs to be and should be. They still have a decent running game, good O-line. I don't know how good their defense is. It's certainly not like traditional Alabama standard, but they have good players still, like left over from the Saban era. So I don't know. Like I don't think. I mean, I'm going pretty far down the list of national title contenders before I get to Alabama, but I still think Alabama could be the best team in the SEC. So I don't know. I'm not like a strong believer. I'm not going to pound the table for them to be a national title contender, but someone's got to win the SEC. We do playoff picks. I got to pick somebody to be the SEC champ. So it's like, you want to pick Alabama or Texas A&M? Those are your choices.
Yeah. No, I want to pick Texas A&M. I have Tennessee 30-23 over Alabama.
I have Alabama winning 35-24. Tennessee has not won in Tuscaloosa since 2003, by the way.
Oh, well, good for them. It'll be exciting. All right, so this is a good also late game. So I would ignore Bama Tennessee and just check scores and say woohoo when Bama's losing. Mm-hmm. But I would double screen USC-Notre Dame at 7:30 and Utah-BYU at 8 on Fox. This is at BYU. Oh, that is true. Yeah. You have to be careful. Like I just Googled Holy War and it was like, this is not the Utah BYU game. And it's like, no, Doug, there are other meanings of the word Holy War. So I had to put Holy War college football. And then I got the Utah BYU game, 103rd meeting in the series. Utah had won 9 straight, but now BYU's won the last 2, including last year. In another lost year for Utah, BYU was undefeated. Utah got up 21-10, and BYU rallied to win 22-21 on a 44-yard Will Ferrin field goal with 4 seconds left to move to 9-0 and stay unbeaten. So like that was like as good as the Holy War could get last year. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. But now the difference this year. So last year it was like, hey, BYU's like a top 10 team and a legit playoff contender. And Utah is just trying to play spoiler. Now they're both good. And I think one of the two teams is maybe really good. BYU, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati are all 3-0 in the Big 12. Utah is 2-1 with a loss to Texas Tech. 6-0 BYU has outscored opponents 225-88. 5-1 Utah has outscored opponents 237-83. They're both good, Landis.
I don't know how good BYU is.
Okay, that's the trick. It's like one might be really good. I think the 5-1 team is actually really good, and I think the 6-0 team is good, but perhaps teetering.
We call out SEC rankings. Why is BYU 15th? What if I get they're undefeated? Why are they 15th? What on their resume tells you that's the 15th best team in the country?
They went to double overtime last week with Arizona, and that's their best win. They beat Colorado. Colorado's 2-4.
Another one-score game. Yeah.
Like there's no like BYU 15 in Washington unranked is crazy. It's crazy. And like it's like now the one thing I will say is Kalani Sitake, like flowers to Kalani Sitake. This guy's a good football coach, man. Mm-hmm. They're doing it with a true freshman quarterback, Bear Bachmeier. Freshman transfer from Stanford, came on board. Jake Retzloff, obviously, like kind of the weird off-field stuff, winds up leaving the school, ends up at Tulane. A good quarterback matchup. Bear Bachmeier throwing for 200 a game for BYU and running for 50. Devin Dampier for Utah throwing for 190 a game and running for 60. Like good QB matchup, but guys who can hurt you both ways.
Yeah, really. Like I don't think BYU stinks. I don't think they should be ranked with their current resume. There are 1 loss and maybe like 2 loss teams that have better resumes or at least I think are better football teams than BYU is. But yeah, it's a fun quarterback matchup for sure. 2 teams, by the way, I was looking this up. Sorry. Highest rushing rates in the country. BYU is 6th. Utah is 12th. There's a low possession banger coming at you here.
Real backs and quarterbacks who can run. LJ Martin for BYU, averaging 109 rushing yards per game. Great. And then a two-headed monster in the backfield for Utah, Wayshawn Parker and Nakiri Rogers. They're averaging combined 23 carries for 113 a game. So they want to hand it to the backs, and then they want to use the quarterbacks in the run game. And it works. And again, all offseason on what we did previously, we have been saying buy the dip on Utah, buy the dip on Utah. We really liked Utah as a Big 12 contender. We really liked Utah for a bounce back here. I think if you allow the Texas Tech loss to change your mind on Utah, I think there's a chance to buy the dip on Utah again. They lost that game to Texas Tech 34-10, but they were down 13-10 entering the fourth quarter in a game where they had 3 turnovers in the first 3 quarters, 2 fumbles and an interception. And then I guess they were down 10-3 entering the fourth quarter. They wound up, so then Texas Tech scored. They cut it to 13-10. It was like, man, they're back in it. And then they gave up 3 straight touchdowns. So they lost 34-10. They just kind of got blitzed in the fourth quarter in a game where they were giving it away the whole time. But I don't think that's what Utah is at all. And Devin Dampier, in the Texas Tech loss, no touchdown passes, 2 picks. The 5 other games, 11 touchdown passes, 1 pick. So I think there's 2 things at play here, possibly, just as you think about Utah and how that game influences you. One is stuff happens, you get blitzed. You have a game where you give it away and you wear down in the fourth quarter, you get blitzed. The other is, as much as I did not think it was actually going to happen, Texas Tech might be really good.
Yep.
And BYU hasn't played anybody like Texas Tech. So I think it's quite possible that Texas Tech and Utah are the 2 best teams in the Big 12. And then within that game, it got a little goofy, and that might be the Big 12 title game. But I think actually only giving 3.5 with Utah in this spot is a great opportunity, because I think maybe Utah's somewhat significantly better here.
I think they could be. I mean, it's two pretty good defenses, I think. That part of BYU, I mean, I like BYU's run game, I like BYU's defense. And the same is true for Utah, and neither one of them really scares you throwing the ball all that much, I think. And I don't know that Bear Bachmeier, and he's home here, so that'll be good for him. But I don't know if he's equipped to throw it all over Utah's defense. It is not a typical Kyle Whittingham Utah defense, but it's still pretty good. I don't know. I like the hook. It's 3.5, right? Yeah. Similar to the Penn State Oregon game when there was the half point on there. That felt enticing to me. I think it's low scoring. I think it's super physical. A lot of run game, few possessions. I'll take Utah to win, but I'm picking BYU to cover. I have Utah 24-21.
Interesting. Because I also think it's one of those, again, it's kind of like last year was really a mess, and the year before fell apart as well. And so Utah dominated this series. Now they've lost 2 straight to the team that they had dominated. And then with also in that, they think they have a team this year, right? And we've talked about Utah, great offensive tackles, the 2-headed running back, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, defensive identity. There's a lot of great, I think, just fundamental things inside the Utah program, and then some dudes sprinkled through the roster. So
is there any because I actually think there might have been some of this last year that allowed Utah to keep that a game when they weren't very good. I thought last year it might be Kyle Whittingham's last Holy War, Utah head coach, former BYU player. Now I don't really know what to make of his pending retirement, but certainly this could be his last Holy War as well. I wonder what that does for Utah in this game if they think that's the case.
And I actually think he's kind of said this. He didn't want to go out in a bad year. So go win the Holy War and win the Big 12, and I'm pretty sure he's done. He wants to go out on top. So right. But they want him. And then at some point it's I'm 88. I want to go out on top. It's it's been a rough 20 years. It's well, at some point you just got to go out, but he wants to go out. He's been one of the 10 best coaches in college football for 2 decades. He wants to go out on his terms, and his terms absolutely include beating BYU.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way I think they're going to be motivated as heck. I think they're motivated by the Texas Tech loss when they weren't really themselves. They're motivated by 2 straight losses to BYU. They're motivated by 2 seasons that didn't live up to Utah standards, and they're motivated by the opportunity that is in front of them, which is if they lose a second Big 12 game, they're not out of the race, but probably that's a tie. That if somebody in the Big 12 will have 0 or 1 conference losses, and then maybe you'll have multiple teams at 2, and you need help to get in. If you want to control your own destiny, you got to keep doing what you're doing, because this Utah team is capable of winning the Big 12. So they have to go beat their rival on the road to do it. And BYU, Kalani Sitake, brother, Kalani Sitake is the man. Kalani Sitake gets absolutely the most out of his teams, and it's like, oh my God, Jake Retzloff, that was a huge story of the offseason. They're like, we're fine. We're playing the freshmen. It's fine. Like, just unbelievable credit. But they've just been skating by a little bit. Like, they've been living on the edge a little bit. And they kind of been living on the edge for they started, what are they, 9-0 last year? They're 6-0 this year. It's like, it's hard to go undefeated. And they've had some games in both those seasons where it's like, wow, I cannot believe they won, which is a credit to Kalani Sitake in that program. But also at some point the worm turns. So I like Utah 31-22. Not a blowout, but I actually really like Utah minus the 3.5.
I was looking to see the last time BYU lost by double digits.
Oh.
And it's been a minute. November 11th, 2023 against Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So great game. Like, fun games, man. Fun games that really matter for the playoff picture this weekend. There's a bunch we didn't pick. We didn't pick Georgia Tech, Duke. There's a bunch of other weird mid-SEC games that we didn't pick. Nebraska, Minnesota on Friday nights, a really interesting one. We didn't pick that. That really matters, especially for Nebraska, although Minnesota would like to tell you they're hanging around in that too. So, like, there's some really, like, another great college football weekend. I don't know what to tell you.
Louisville, Miami is Friday night too.
Louisville, Miami.
Not a bad double feature on Friday night.
Yeah. So we do it every week here. If you want to go check out rhoback.com, RHOBACK. Great college football gear. It's the great game day collection. Put in the code BAD20. You'll get 20% off your first order. But just like, super interesting college football season, and just like another weekend where you can point to 7 or 8 games and say, man, that really matters for the overall picture of the sport and the 12-team playoff, which is why 12-team playoff is elevating an already great sport to even new heights. Second most popular sport in these United States of America. We will have an Ohio State postgame show after Ohio State, Wisconsin on Saturday. Some weeks we do like another post-game show. We're not doing that this week, but like, we'll be checking in. There'll be other weekends where we do like a national post-game show in addition to an Ohio State post-game show. And then on Tuesday nights, we're getting close, Landis. November 4th, I think it is the first the actual college football rankings from the playoff committee. And then I think we're going to turn, like, our Tuesday night stuff will probably come on after the committee rankings and give you like live react. How do they match up with what we think the playoff should be? And so we would invite you to join us for all that stuff. But for now, he's Bill Landis. I'm Doug Lesmerises, and that was the Bill and Doug Show.